Welcome back to Second Breakfast and our ongoing Summerween series, celebrating hot weather and horror movies by bringing you the best thoughts, theories, and literary analysis all summer long.
This episode has been years in the making, and it's so exciting that it's actually going to be 2 episodes. We had to break this discussion into 2 because there's so much to say about this fantastic, horrifying movie, and I'm so excited to talk about it.
So today and tomorrow we're doing episodes on the original Hell House LLC, which is not only, I think, our favorite found footage horror movie ever, but it's in my top 5 of all horror of all time.
It is one of the scariest things I've ever seen, and rewatching it to prepare for this episode, I was like, maybe I won't find it so scary because I know what happens, and maybe it's lost some of that. No, it's so scary, and I'm so excited to talk about it.
Yes, so today's segment is going to be my theory, and tomorrow's is going to be Maggie's, chosen at random. So mine, I started with a question. I just want to jump right into it. I'm really excited about this.
Okay,
this
great.
has genuinely been on our list of episodes we need to do for years.
For years and years, and things keep getting in the way, and we're so excited. By the way, we're going to spoil everything.
Yes,
so
everything.
If you haven't seen this movie, just a quick, it's a found footage film. This group of friends in their 20s are making a haunted house. Real shit starts to happen in the haunted house, and things get really bad, and it's fucking scary. So that's the pitch. Go watch it.
Terrifying.
It's great.
Yes.
It's on Tubi, so you can watch it for free. It's great.
It's everywhere. So the question I started with is, why is this film so scary? We rewatched it, and Maggie was mortified. She was hiding. I had to stop her from hiding behind her hands.
I was so upset and so stressed. It's so scary.
And it was such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And the second it ended, I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to undo the magic trick and figure out what makes this film so profoundly horrifying. And I was trying to dig deeper and come up with some big complicated theory and look to the literary stuff we usually dance with. And the first answer that kept hitting me was my memories of the film, because when you think of, that horror movie was scary, your brain flashes back to the images that frightened you.
Yes,
usually creature design.
Mostly that clown.
And I realized my memories of this film are all single frames of astounding creature design that were just seared into my brain. In the same way your lizard brain kind of takes snapshots of every threat you can see.
Yes.
Like, I've been chased by dogs a few times, and I can remember every detail of what the dog looked like. It's kind of a survival instinct sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
And the big creature design that I think freaks out both of us here is that clown.
My God.
But the moments I remember, those single frames, are the clown, then seeing the clown with the head turned, or when Paul is under the sheets and he lifts it up, and every time he lifts up the sheet, that freaky lady is closer to him.
I don't like that freaky lady.
Or it's that shot of all those robed figures in the attic or in the basement. And they're all single shots. They're frames. You view these creatures for a moment at a time. And even then, and this is where I started to get some traction with the idea here, they're not moving.
That's the thing. It's like, it's such impressive. What's one of the things I love about this movie is it's such a, it's a low budget, found footage film. There's not a whole lot of special effects going on, at least not that you can detect, but it's just the way that it's shot. It's these like freaky looking things that are standing still and not moving. But then when you come back, they have moved in the interim. And so there's so much imagination work happening. I think that's what makes it so scary.
And the characters are discussing creature design because they're trying to make a haunted house.
They're trying to make it scary.
They're talking about the mechanics of the clown. They're talking about it being a mannequin, and the head doesn't turn, so how could it move between the shots? That's part of it. It's engaging you in that element of creature design. But the fact that they're not moving, the fact that you never see, when you raise the sheets, you don't see the lady lunge at the guy. You don't get traditional jump scares or attacks. And in comparing this to other horror movies, the thing that scares you most of the time is the motion of violence.
Yeah.
It's a creature shockingly coming into frame. It's the blur of color or teeth. It's all about motion. And instead, what Hell House almost got through it. What Hell House LLC deals in is the horror of stillness. Which I think sticks with you at a much deeper level because it hits that survival instinct thing of snapshots.
Yeah.
The moments, the frames that you remember. Because those things that you're remembering, that is the singular moment of fear that was burned into your brain. And to the point you just made, total props to it being tremendously low tech. And the whole film, it looks cheap in a good way.
Yes.
Because the tools it's using are the most basic tools of filmmaking. It's all about lighting and film grain, because it's got that VHS blown out ugly look. But they're weaponizing all of those simple tools to such incredible effect.
Definitely.
And I think it works because it's not just the filmmaking tools, it's something more elemental to the idea of fiction. It's the power of suggestion that is being engaged so regularly in this film. It expands in your mind to become more scary even than what you're seeing on screen. It's the viewer's imagination. That's the core engine of all fiction across all media. We just got to see Jaws in a theater again a couple weeks ago. And the power of that film is the simplicity of it. And it is kind of the low tech because all the tech broke.
Right. So you don't see the shark all that much, and that's what makes it so scary.
It's not about the mechanics of the jaw opening and its eyes rolling back. You don't see any of that because it didn't work. What you see is the dorsal fin.
Right.
It's the steadiness of a triangle poking out of the water.
Right. And so it's
simplicity.
It's what your brain is filling in. That's what's so scary about a found footage, especially one like this, where you're going into it knowing there's going to be scary shit in the house. And the second they walk in, there's no electricity, there's no lights. So it's dark in this creepy old house. And so your brain is constantly trying to fill the gaps of what you can't see. You're trying to figure out what's hiding in the corner. Is that mannequin moving? Is it alive? Is that supposed to be there? Is that fake? Is that real? And so you are forced over against your will to try to imagine and fill in the gaps of what's going on down in the basement, what's going on in the dining room, what's happening with the piano being played, what's going on with the lady in Paul's room. Like, you are so forced to imagine the scariest thing in the world, and that's why this movie, that's one of the reasons I think this movie is so scary.
And this concept, this central concept of the power of suggestion weaponized and rendered through stillness, it persists throughout the film, even beyond just the scenes with the central creature being the clown. I have 10 kind of rapid fire examples here.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the first one is the even more unnerving and subtle scares in the film, which really don't have to do with creatures at all. When they run into a room, run back into another room, they realize that way is blocked, they turn back to the original room, and it's suddenly well lit and the table is set.
Oh, yeah.
That's unnerving, but it's perfectly still. The flame on the candle isn't even moving.
Right.
Everything is still. It's total imagination. It's, did these things fly across the room on their own? Did the clown set the table real quick?
With someone in the house fucking with me, but how could they have done it so quickly?
Exactly.
It's got to be supernatural.
There is no answer. There's just evidence.
Yeah.
You just have to grapple with this proof. The second one is the guy at the piano, Hector.
Oh, yeah.
He never moves.
No,
you
never
see
see him
the
move.
hands move. You hear him playing. You hear when when Paul's running with the camera and the found footage thing, you hear him playing, but when you get to the room, he's not moving. He's not playing. It's never on camera. It's only in your imagination. It's only in your mind's eye. That's so much more effective.
Can I tell you, I was really excited about that piano playing, and I did try to see, it's 4 notes, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be so fun if they were playing D-E-A-D? They're not. That's actually a very happy little tune. I tested out on a piano. It's not it. I don't know what the notes are, but it's not anything significant, but I was really hoping it was. We'll get to my theories in our next episode, but I did a lot of deep dives and a lot of stuff going on in here, and I was trying to connect symbols. I was, that one scene from It's Always Sunny. I was really trying to figure it out.
You're doing your homework.
It's just random notes. It's not exciting, but I was really hoping it was going to be dead, but it's not.
See, I'm the notes guy. I've never used a piano to put my notes together. That's cool.
I had a lot of fun. I was hoping I would play the notes and freak you out, but it didn't happen.
The next one is after the fact, when the news crew goes back into the house. The only proof they can find that anything weird happened is from these still images. It's those moments preserved in amber. It's the handprints in the dust and the grime at the end of the stairs. It's the bit of dried blood. It's all of these still fragments of something that was such a chaos of motion when it happened.
The blood on the floor that's going towards and stops at the wall.
Yes.
That's the best thing. Yeah.
And even to kind of extrapolate out a bit for the next one, the documentary sections themselves, the interview subjects are all seated and stationary. It's kind of like how Mad Max Fury Road. Everything that happens, all the drama in this chaotic, colorful, action-packed movie, everything is centered in the frame. So if you lock your eyes in that one spot, you don't miss anything. If you glance around, you get more detail, but everything is locked in that central moment, which is why the film feels so intense and kinetic.
I see.
We're almost weaponizing it in the opposite way, where everything is still. So you have to do that kind of Where's Waldo action.
Where's the movement?
But you never get answers.
No.
You just get more and more like unnerving evidence that something weird happened. The next one is about the house itself, because the house itself is kind of a still, unmoving object. It persists through time and space, through all of these kids come in, turn into a haunted house. Doesn't really change it at all. Whoever trashed it before doesn't change it at all. It's still
see.
this strange, immovable, unchanging mess. The next one is Sarah.
Okay.
So at the end of the movie, once she's gone over to the dark side, she's not moving around, walking around the house like she is when she's alive and herself. After her experience, she is still. When she's being interviewed, like all the other interview subjects, she's perfectly still and centered in the frame. And then when you see her at the very end of the movie, she's sitting on the bed in room 2C.
Yeah, and not moving. Yeah.
So she's become as still as any of the other creatures or the house itself.
And in the moments when, before the end, before she's died, when other spooky shit's happening with her, she is still. She's standing and staring at that statue of the Virgin Mary out in the yard. Or she's staring at the wall and speaking in tongues or speaking backwards. I'm not sure, but she's just standing still.
It's almost like a zombie or a vampire movie, this moment of infection where the people become compromised and they slowly start to become part of the hell house. Because if you think of the way Alex dies, the ringleader, he dies by hanging. So it's almost like Medusa looking at someone and they turn to stone because he's literally becoming still. He's becoming as still as those robed figures who are circling around them in the attic, or the guy who slits his throat. I don't remember which one it is.
It's Paul.
Who falls into frame and becomes perfectly still, centered just like the interview subjects.
Oh, interesting.
And even this is kind of the most extrapolating I can do for the last two here. The main conceit of the film, like Blair Witch, like a lot of found footage films, is that it is an assemblage of old footage, which is now calcified and frozen. You can't go back and do pickups. You can't get any more footage.
Right,
you have
so
what you have. It is final. And I think, like the original Blair Witch Project, the film feels cursed. It feels evil. And you totally believe that the whole cast is dead. You believe that this could happen because even with your own two eyes, you're not seeing anything that's totally out of the realm of possibility. And it just feels possible. And I think that's because of the stillness. I think it's because of the way it weaponizes the power of suggestion. It's just the scariest movie.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I love that. I think this is maybe one of the first times you've really spent a lot of time breaking down like cinematography as a storytelling device. Obviously, that's hugely important, but we don't tend to talk about that much here. But I really, really like that. And which is interesting because you wouldn't think about that for found footage. You think they want it to be as authentic as possible, so it's going to be as randomly shot and messily shot and not have these beautiful compositions. And a lot of it doesn't. A lot of it is messy and random. But I mean, in those documentary interview scenes, those are of course very intentionally composed. And I like what you said here at the moments in the found footage where, when Paul slides down into frame or when Sarah's sitting still, that is very intentional and thought out. And I love that because I think there's a misunderstanding of found footage that, it's just like any amateur can do found footage because you just get a video camera and go. But it still requires, to do it well, it requires a great deal of craft. And
it's not just a handheld horror movie. It's its own art form.
That's definitely being done here. And it is the best, this and Blair Witch have this in common. It is the best medium to tell this story. Like I wouldn't enjoy a regularly shot movie of this nearly as much. It's so much more effective as found footage. And Blair Witch does this power of suggestion thing too. You never actually see the Blair Witch. And I listened to a whole deep dive episode about this from, I think it was Rewatchables. It's a podcast I've been listening to. It's a great, y'all should, if you like our show, you'll love Rewatchables. That's great. But so they're talking about, they actually they had some producer dress up in like a white dress or something to like run around and freak the cast out. Because a lot of what happened with the cast in Blair Witch was they intentionally freaked them out so that a lot of their reactions would be genuine. And so they had somebody, which is like, could never happen now for liability things. But so they had somebody running around in the woods wearing all white to freak them out. And they were supposed to get that on film, but something fucked up and they didn't get a shot of it. So you never see that in the movie. You just see the actors being terrified. But that is so much more scary.
Yes.
I adore that we never see the Blair Witch. We have no idea what she looks like. We have some discussions of her at the very beginning when they're interviewing everybody in the town, but we never actually see her. We have to imagine what she is. And that's so much scarier. And that same thing is happening here in Hell House. You're seeing the clown, you're seeing the dummies, and that is so scary in its own way. But you're seeing the cloaked figures, but you're not really seeing how it happens. You're not seeing the mechanics. You're not really, you leave the movie feeling really kind of confused, but like in a good way. It's meant to be that way. There's a lot that's unanswered. That's the whole point, is this documentary is unanswered. There's no final explanation of what happens with our main characters, why the house is this way. how the mannequins' heads are able to turn, other than it's something supernatural and maybe there's a hell demon devil connection. I don't know. And that's like so interesting.
It's like a fantasy story without a magic system.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like that stillness you talk about, because I was trying to think, why do I find dummies and mannequins so fucking scary? Like, even in real life, I don't want to stand next to a mannequin or a dummy. Like, it's so unnerving. And I think it's because of that stillness, because it looks so lifelike, or it's lifelike enough that the fact that it's still is weird and unsettling, because humans and animals don't sit perfectly still. We move and breathe and make noise and we live, right? And when they're dead still, that's fucking freaky. But so when it's this thing that you know is not real, that lack of movement is scary. But what's even scarier is if it moved. That would be even worse, obviously.
But less effective, I would argue.
Right,
Yeah.
but the imagining it moving is what is so scary.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I mean.
Yes,
like,
yes.
that is so unnerving.
Mhm.
And so this movie utilizes that so well. It would have been cheap if we saw Hector play the piano, or if we saw the clown walk down the stairs. Instead,
It's cheating.
We see him at the bottom of the stairs and we don't know how he fucking got there. Like, that's what's so upsetting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Horror of Stillness in Hell House LLC. That is part 1 of our Hell House discussion. We'll be back tomorrow with Maggie's part 2. If you want to support the show, we have a Patreon with bonus episodes, dozens and dozens piled up over the year. Lots of horror over there. $2 a month. You can support the show and get access to the entire back catalog.
Absolutely. And also, Cam's latest book, Lemon Tarts in Space, is available for purchase if you want to support us in a different way. It is not a horror book, but it is fun and spooky and scary in its own way. It's a light sci-fi dark comedy. It's like
Got some body horror in there.
I was gonna say, it's Alien meets Monty Python. Like, it's a delightful time. You can read it as a regular book in the format of your choice, or you can listen to the fully produced audio drama if you can't get enough of Cam's dulcet tones. It's really fantastic. Thank you all so much for your support. And thank you for joining us for Summerween. Like Cam said, we'll see you tomorrow for part 2 of this Hell House discussion.